From Lakeside Village, Las Vegas, located in the Summerlin community of Desert Shores, I'm David Gavry, and this is the Lakeside Village Voice Podcast, where we dive into the minds of Vegas professionals and learn about their journey. It is with great pleasure to announce guest number one on our very first episode of the Lakeside Village Voice Podcast. Here we have Scott and Elaine Harris of cuisinist.com, a top 100 travel website in the world. Scott and Elaine are a husband and wife duo who are full-time travel journalists, and they are both sommeliers. For over a decade, they have covered resorts, spas, fine dining establishments, wine, spirits, and luxury adventure travel. You can see their body of work at cuisinist.com. That is cuisinist.com, which features Food Network stars and celebrity chefs, winemakers, restaurateurs, and fellow sommeliers. They also have an online TV show, Cuisinist Confidential, on the vegasfix.com network. So thank you for tuning in to Lakeside Village Voice Podcast. This is my first conversation with our guests, Scott and Elaine Harris of cuisinist.com, and let's just get right into it. Enjoy. So was it just a hobby at that point? Was it just a thing that you just had like to have?
I was just very interested in it. So I had met a group at a jazz concert. They were in the American Wine Society. So I was like, wow, that sounds like a cool society to join. So I did. And I was dating Scott then. I'm like, you should come to the meetings. They were a national group, wine group. And I started learning all about wine. And eventually, I guess being the teacher in me and wanting to be educated, I really got into it. So I started going to wine country in Central Coast of California because I had lived in the Monterey area and moved from the Monterey area to Las Vegas. However, I never drank wine when I lived there, but I had met a group of winemakers from Monterey at a wine tasting or one of the local restaurants. And I was just getting into it, and this one winemaker said, why don't you come? If you're in Monterey, I'll set you up at different wine tastings. And what happened was we met a lot of his friends in another area of California called the Santa Rita Hills, and started going there quite often when I ever had breaks, and started learning all about the wine industry. We worked in the wineries with the winemakers. When I had free time, I was down there helping with crush and punch downs and learning every aspect and sorting grapes. So it became quite a passion. Then we live in Vegas, so here we are with some of the best sommeliers, and then they know people there. And anyway, that's how we got engaged. But then at that time, too, we started writing a blog called
That's
Vino
Las
started. Vegas. And that got on the radar of the James Beard Foundation.
The blog was Vino Las Vegas.
Yeah, Vino Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And
2005, 4, something like that.
It was right when blogging first kind of became
Sure. And that's the birth of Vino Las Vegas, which is now the wine club here at Lakeside Village, yeah?
Yeah. And
wow, so it started off as a blog.
It did. It was a blog, and which was interesting because we, as far as the James Beard Foundation, for people who don't know what that is, it's like the Culinary Academy Awards. They award best restaurant, best chef, best sommelier, best whatever. Well, they just started at best blog. We were in the running for the award. However, we did not get the award, but just to be on their radar was really great. And they said we were too Vegas-centric. So we developed our own website, cuisinist.com, to make it more all-encompassing aspects of the culinary world. And we live in Las Vegas, and Vegas was exploding with new restaurants, and every celebrity chef wants to be here. And so, I don't know, it all kind of evolved.
Just kind of evolved. Mm-hmm. And if you look back, we've done everything with wine. We've harvested, crushed it, punched us down. I was a wine director at Garfield's and a wine director at Come Saw on the Strip, so I bought it, and we've written about it. We've done everything but actually grow it, and I'll let those guys do that. But we've done pretty much everything you can do in wine, of all the different aspects of it, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you guys met, were you already sommeliers, or
No.
did?
No. I was a elementary school. Well, I was getting my degree in education for Nevada. I had taught in California when I met Scott, and Scott was a paramedic.
I was a paramedic.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally not related to this world at all. But then again, I always say, you know, with the job I had, I could see why
Yeah,
that
exactly.
happened. But yeah, it really kind of took over our lives. And there was several points while I was teaching thinking of I'll just become a floor somm, or I'll go into just sales in the business. But the writing thing really kept evolving and taking off. And finally we got involved with local magazines. And the biggest thing that happened really was we got on with a national website called the Daily Meal, and we were able to be on staff with that, and they had a huge reach, so that opened up a lot of doors for us,
right,
as far as publications. So even today we contribute to their website, but what they do is they actually take our copy and they'll distribute it to whatever outlets they have. So we might be in the LA Times or the Chicago Tribune,
Boston
or
Globe.
Yeah,
Boston
wow,
Globe.
wow.
So
Right.
it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been kind of an interesting,
Yeah,
and
it has been.
all-encompassing,
And it's
journey.
still evolving. So one thing is that we gave a talk before for the downtown project, kind of like a miniature TED talk. It was called Partnership Passion. And so basically it was about, what we kept saying was, you know, there were many times where we educate people about wine. We're just going to teach people about wine. That's what we're going to do, have little tastings. But the writing kept pulling us. So instead of like fighting it, saying, no, we're going to do this no matter what, we went with where the energy took us, like a wave. The wave took us to more of the writing. But then, kind of funny, now, all the way back, over 15 years later, now we're back doing wine education at the Las Vegas Wine and Yacht Club. So it doesn't make any difference, you know, you may have had that idea from the beginning. Never have I thought we had actually our own spot, ever. But because of all this stuff that we did, instead of forcing it, we just went with where it took us.
Wow.
And so it got frustrating sometimes. It does, because is this really worth it? Is it really worth the time and effort? But we just kept it, no, let's just stick with it. Let's stick with it, because sooner or later it's going to happen. And boom, we're traveling all over the world and learning about wines from other regions. So, yeah.
Wait, so let me pause you. The struggle part, I'm interested in that. I am. I mean, it's part of your journey. It's part of who you guys are today. So so tell me, what is the process of someone to even become a sommelier? How do you go from, hey, I really like wine, to, hey, I'm really nerding out about wine, to let's be sommeliers? Like, what is that even?
There's several different organizations. There's International Sommeliers Guild,
Okay.
which has like classes, like you take classes on different regions of the world. We got ours through the Court of Masters, which is really difficult. And there is no school, there's no class for it. They assume that you have 5 or 6 years experience in the industry, and then you're in there with the master sommeliers. And a master sommelier is almost like a PhD in wine, and these are people that devoted their entire life. I mean, like almost a photographic memory. So you start hanging around these people, and you're learning from them. So you finally got a book the first day of class. That's your study book. And so blind tastings, a blind tasting is you don't know what the wine is, you take it through. They have a very distinctive way of tasting. So it's not easy, especially for the court. But there's different levels. There's beginning, certified, advanced, and then master. And each one is tougher as you go through the ranks.
So, like, how long does it take for from beginning to end to completion?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. For us, for myself, I just wanted it to be at the first level because it was gave me more credibility in the business. I had decided at that point I didn't want to work as a floor somm or I was still teaching too. So it was just like there was no way I was going to be able to, focus that much because it is really, really difficult. I mean, if you are going up through those ranks, through the quartermasters, you are going to probably be really involved in the industry in some capacity, in a restaurant, in national sales or something.
Right.
And being in Las Vegas, we had we had the most master sommeliers anywhere at that time here on the Las Vegas Strip. So they became our friends and mentors, so that when we were studying, just even for the first level with them, like we do like late night tastings with them. And I was really like, wow, this is a big deal. Like even as a teacher and having to go through a lot of education courses, I'm like, this is really something.
Yeah.
And even going through the testing process.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, thank God I studied. I mean, I would study, in between my classes, and I had flashcards, and there's a lot to it. And it's kind of like the first level is, I call it like the wine 101, like when you take a 101 class, like you have to know so much general broad information about all the different regions of the world, and New World and Old World, and then you're in a huge ballroom. We were at the Bellagio with the master somms, and you're doing these tastings, and they're grilling you and drilling you, and then you take the test. That part of the test. Then you take a written exam,
right?
And then, after all that's said, they call your name, and you go into a ballroom. If you get your name called, you go in and have a champagne. Yeah.
When you come back the second day, half the class is gone.
Yeah, half the class is gone.
Wow.
Half the class fails,
They gave up.
They do.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it was quite a feat, actually. And
So how did you guys survive? How did you guys not become one of those that dropped out? What did it take?
It just took. I think it was because we had spent so much time really
in the industry already.
In the industry.
And I was selling wine at the time, so I was around these guys. So for me to fail, I would have been embarrassed. Like really, I was selling wine to these guys. It's a funny story. You'll love this story. So I'm with these guys. I see these guys every day. I'm selling wine, and Scott, you got this, no problem. I'm going through the book. Yeah, you're right. I got this. Okay, whatever. It's good. Okay. The blind. We did really good at the blinds tastings because actually used to practice at Marche Bacchus right here at Lakeside Village. So anyway, they're telling me, you got this. I was like, glance through this. Okay, I got it. I was more concerned with the tastings and getting the tastings right. So like she said, they're calling people. It's the last day. We're all exhausted. And they're calling people up. And I did the written test. And I went outside. I've always taken tests fast. I go outside. I'm leaning against the wall like this. And she goes, what? I go, I failed it. She goes, I do not feel sorry for you at all. Because I didn't really study. I figured I had it. These guys told me.
I was after them.
I don't feel sorry for you.
Like, really study.
So I said, you know what? You go. You deserved it. Go to the champagne thing. I'll be at the Petrosian bar drinking my sorrows away. So I go back in the room. They're calling names. And literally, down in the end, I was going to sneak out. All these guys are my friends. I was like, sneak out, like, oh, gosh, get me out of here. And then all of a sudden, the last one, Scott Harris. I looked at him like with an evil smile on their face. They kept putting my name to the back. And so I was mad because I was like ready to break down,
Yeah.
And so I did got to go into the champagne thing. And
yeah, but as soon as we got into that champagne tasting, Scott went up to
Robert Smith, master
sommelier. At the time he was at Picasso, and he looked right at Scott and he goes, "I'm evil, aren't I?" And he gave him this.
As tears in my eyes. Yes, you are. As tears in my eyes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So then I came home complaining, and she said, Scott, she goes, they would not have gone that effort if they didn't like you. And that's probably true. But still, I kept looking for like a wink, or I got you, then nothing. They were like ice cold, man. These guys were ice cold.
Yeah, they don't give you any
They got
indication.
me, yeah.
So what's like an example of a really difficult question on this test? Like what made you think that you thought you flunked the test? Like what kind of questions are they asking?
It was just
for someone to flunk the sommelier test.
It was a lot of it. I mean, I'm really good. Thanks a lot. I'm really good in geography, stuff like that. It was like regions, like especially like Italy and Spain are very difficult regions because each little town has their own little regions, whereas France is there's laws. There's like, this is Champagne to Champagne, Burgundy is Burgundy, but Italy and Spain are not like that. And I was getting confused, which was there in that area. So I really I didn't study that. I was more concerned with the tasting, again, the tasting right, which we both blew them away, the blind tastings. But I was more concerned with that and the service aspect than actually doing the book knowledge, which I thought these guys told me I had. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful story. When we come back, I want to get into more about how does one take on a career like you guys? How does one get into the field of eat, drink, travel?
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Lakeside Village Voice Podcast is sponsored by Exile Creative Group, your one-stop shop for graphic design, web design, and printing. Exile Creative is a small boutique style design studio located here at Lakeside Business Suites in Desert Shores, specializing in graphics design, branding, print communications, and website development. Exile Creative Group creates complete branding packages such as logo design, attractive marketing collateral, flyers, catalogs, brochures, and signs, as well as effective websites and social media graphics. Please visit Exile Creative Group website at exilecreative.com. What's fascinating to me is the fact that you guys do for a career what everybody likes to do when they're not working.
Yes.
This is the enjoyment part. This is okay, get off work, let's go to happy hour, let's get off let's take some vacation and go travel somewhere.
Right.
You guys are getting paid to do this. So
Yes.
how does one get your job?
It's a process.
It's a process.
I mean,
a long process.
first of all, we always tell people, we hear this all the time, I want to do what you want to do, that
Sure.
you're doing. And so first of all, it doesn't happen like, next week. It was an 8 or 9 year process or longer. I mean, we weren't travel writers till about 8 years ago.
Well,
Then,
7.
but then we discovered that I tell people, number one is that you have to be in shape. People say, what do you mean shape? Yeah, you have to be in shape because you're getting on a plane, you're getting off the plane, onto a train, off the train, onto a trolley, off the trolley, onto a bus, and walk to your hotel. And we've been on trips with other journalists, and they should not have been there. Or we hiked 10 miles through the Swiss Alps. One guy was way back there, and they make you sign this thing that said, yes, I'm physically strength. So people don't realize that. It is physically demanding and long hours. So it's not like hanging on the beach with a pina colada all day long, right?
No, and I guess that's the like you said, a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like people see all this kind of glamorous stuff you do, but they don't realize while you're there, you're on someone else's dime. You are beholden to them.
Right.
A lot of time you're with a group of other people that people might not necessarily get along with either, and so there is a lot of work involved. But to answer your original question, like how do you do this? It really, the way it dovetailed for us was through the writing. Getting involved with the Daily Meal website opened a lot of doors for us, even internationally, because we had a large audience. And also as our website grew, we also morphed too with more followers that way. And with the advent of social media, we created our own following that way. We did it all organically. As time has gone on, we have this huge influx of Instagrammers
influencers.
and influencers.
Sure. Okay.
And that did create a lot of problems in the industry we're in for a while. But now there's more technology to actually vet a lot of people.
Right.
So it was through getting the writing out there, showing up, integrity, doing the work while you're there. When they say be on time and show up at this, this spot right now, you do it. And you go with a good attitude and an attitude of gratitude. You would be amazed. Even people think, oh my God, they're on this trip in Switzerland and they're going to like a Michelin. There'll still be people, if you're on a press trip, that will complain that, they don't have the right seat at the right table or the hotel room doesn't have the, certain kind of quality sheets or whatever it is.
Right.
But to me, it's just when you go forth with integrity and with really gratitude,
Right.
doors open up for you. People want to work with you, right? So we just kept networking with people. Being in Las Vegas, too, has been a great door opener also because it brings people from tourism groups to Las Vegas to present their country or whatever their business. And one of the biggest key factors that opened up the travel writing to us was we got to know the people through the Swiss tourism. They had the Western region for the Western United States. She was the person who represented Switzerland, and she came to Las Vegas and met Scott. So Scott, you can maybe tell a little bit about how that happened.
Also, I don't want to use the word fate, more like determination, because I had the date. Okay, it's a free lunch. Why not? So I pulled in there and I changed clothes in the car, put a shirt on, and walked in there. It was with the buffet area at Bellagio. It's not there anymore, but I walk in there. I said, I'm here for the Swiss thing. And the hostess says, there's no Swiss thing here. I said, what do you mean? It's on my calendar. It's here. So I was like, okay, whatever, some kind of hoax. So then I get in the car. I find out it's the following week. I felt like a jerk, right? So then I like, whatever. So I didn't even get my free lunch. So, okay. So I get home, and then a week later it comes up, I'm not going to do this again, going in there, whatever. But you know what? I was not planning on going back. But what the heck? I might as well get free lunch again, see what these guys are up to. I'm glad I went. That literally changed. I met Maya, who was the head person there, and met people from different regions. And to this day, those people are our friends. We visited all those regions. Wow. And it's also chemistry. Also, it's huge. I hit it off with her right away. And she said, we're playing a tour coming up maybe in 8 months from now. I said, please keep us in mind, whatever. But then you went into the issue. We're unique in the travel industry that we're husband and wife riding team together. Mm-hmm. At first, that was not kind of an issue, because usually, they want to take one journalist and a plus one or no plus one. Well, one was a plus one. So it took me about a year to explain to them that we are both journalists who happen to be married, and we write for multiple publications. So it has been years. Now we're looked at as one entity. If we get invited, it's for both of us. So at first, Maya said, "Male and me will take one." I go, whatever. It's our first time. Anybody's going to be her because she's got Swiss heritage. So then Maya calls me back, maybe 2 or 3 months later. She goes, guess what? I go, what? You both get to go to Switzerland. I said, yes.
Wow.
That opened doors. That's also good. That was our first international trip. We went together as one, which is very cool because that set the precedent for going to the Baha Mar in the Bahamas and going to all the things we've done. We always go together. Usually, like she mentioned, it's a press trip sometimes with other journalists. Other times, it's just us.
Wow. So what's fascinating is that what you described, you have to be professional. You have to build relationships. Like these are things that people have to do at their regular jobs.
Right.
But so you guys are in the leisure industry and you're treating it as a job. So my question to you is, does it ever take the leisure out of the leisure, if that makes any sense? Treating it like a job, being professional, showing up on time. Because usually the average person, I imagine, wants to kick back, put their feet up, and have a glass of wine.
That's a good question. I did get to the point where I'm like, I need to have a trip where I'm not on.
A vacation from your vacation job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to do. It was hard to kind of like, okay, I'm not on. Because my go-to place is New Orleans. So I had written about New Orleans numerous times, and Scott and I have gone there together. I went there by myself. And so going there, I go there every year on a girls' trip for my birthday. So it's still hard because so many of the people I know in the industry know me. But I tell them I'm just here as, just to have fun, right?
Yeah,
I did have to do that. And there are times when I have to just kind of step away from that, just so that I'm not doing, copious amounts of social media or, having to be beholden to someone for an article or something. Well, this is technically, not really a press trip. but I could use it to do that, but I don't do that anymore. I do take time out just to have fun.
Yeah, how do you guys unplug? Do you just come to the office and do admin work?
Usually the office, I get busier here than I am at home. And you know how it is. People stop by and knock on the door. Yeah. See, for me,
hiking. I love to hike.
Yeah, hiking and camping. But that's how we play. We go to buy a fire and camp. There's no social media. You can't get anything. And it's just fine. I don't need to have my phone with me 24/7. But it's a little bit different. If I'm going to travel anywhere, it's going to go online. I don't care where I'm at.
Okay.
It's going to be...
Yeah, we're different that way.
Whether it's for fun or not.
Or not. I mean, I haven't had... The last vacation was probably like 10, 11 years ago at home in Miami seeing my mom. And that I literally was not... Even then, we were just starting. We went to dinner. I took pictures and stuff like that. But it wasn't like... Yeah, that literally, I feel like, what? Yeah, I don't even know what a vacation is, me personally. I don't. Because if I'm going somewhere, I don't care where it is. I go to happy hour. I'm talking to people and taking pictures here. If I could not, I don't think I could go anywhere and just not do that. Because I always be like, oh, shoot, I need to get this word out here. I need to tell that we're here and let everybody know we're here. Because it's good for the brand. To me, it's all about the brand. When people ask me how to get started, start a blog. A little blog. This day is way easier now than before. Whatever you think you're good at, it's not be why, whatever it may be. Like maybe doing a podcast, do a blog about doing a podcast. You know, like producer could do that. You know, do a blog about doing a podcast. Whatever you're passionate about, that's how you start. And then add social media and all that to it. Then start getting a following that way. That's how we did it.
Well, that's one nice thing because Scott really is such a professional with the social media. He's taught classes about it. Is that even if I do go on a girls' trip or a trip where I'm not on, I could still send him pictures, and I know he's going to post them somewhere. So I can. So that too, I think, is another thing that because we're a husband and wife team, we've been able to really hone those skills as far as, you know, compartmentalize. He does a lot of social media. I do it too, but he's really on it. And then we write, like we'll take turns with like writing and looking at the article, editing the article. So we play off each other. Like we can look at it. How can we make it better? How can we reword it? Like I'll run it by him. He'll run it by me. So we have found a way to work together and where it's not just one person doing all of this or one person doing it. But he does take a big lead on the social media because he loves it so much.
Even on those trips we're telling you about, like I say, it could be 9-10 hours or more. It's not over. We had our dinner. I may go to the bar and have a drink. Of course, I relax. I may come bring some drink back up to the room. And then I'm immediately on social media because I found that early on. If you just wait till the end of the trip, you get overwhelmed. And then you leave out stuff. So I do it every day at the end of the day. And Elaine is taking notes. She goes through the notes of that day. So I'm doing nothing but social media that night, you know, checking in here, posting pictures, you know.
And I'm actually, I record a video or I'm taking notes or I just do anecdotal notes when I get back to the hotel about what I observed, or I'll listen to the audio that I recorded on whoever I was interviewing. So we've been doing this a while, so we kind of know, you know, our parts, but we work really, really well together in it. And it's worked, but also, you know, a lot of people are like, I want to do this, but to be real honest, it looks like you have this $1 million lifestyle. It kind of feels that way, and you do get to do things that you wouldn't do if you even had the money to get in and have access. But the thing is that you've got to, you know, have these skills, and you have to keep them up and work at it. And it takes so much time to build a following. And also another big thing is that even though it looks this way, financially, a lot of times, like, these outlets don't pay that much. And I don't mean to disparage anybody, but it takes a lot.
Sure.
I mean, if you're going to do this full time, to get enough outlets to actually finance your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But because we both we are, we've had some years on us, and we've had other careers that we have other sources of income. So that's given us a platform that we can do it and have the freedom to do that. I know there are people that I met people when I got into the travel writing that have been working for 20 years in this, and I didn't even know it was a thing, that have done travel guides, that have really, really have honed their skills. And they were really, but to do that now, like it's really, it's not easy. But I always say, go for integrity. Don't buy your followers. Don't ever buy your followers. I just think that's going to, eventually bite you in the butt. And we've seen that happen.
Yeah.
So wait, sorry to cut you off. When you say that some outlets don't pay much, what is the expectation? Like when you say you book a tour, what is the expectation in terms of what gets comped, what comes out of your pocket? Like how does
Usually
booking a tour work?
It's up to them usually. like sometimes.
And when you say them, you mean like the
PR
hotel,
people or marketing,
okay.
whoever it may be. Like
Okay.
sometimes we get trips, like the one coming up.
Okay.
Is that okay? We like to take care of your airfare. That's usually the big chunk of it.
Okay.
And usually when you get to a city, we learn this from veteran travelers. Once you're in a country in Europe, just get there. Once you're there, you can get hotels. But the flights usually, so they start saying, okay, we'll fly you to point A to point B. Okay, cool. And of course, they're going to have a hotel involved. And then the restaurant's going to join in. And then it's kind of a snowball effect, especially when you have airfares. We have a reputation. And that's the thing. I mean, that's a big chunk out of their budget as well. And so for Swiss, because the Swiss, again, they flew us over first class several times. She went several, and so once people see that, they go, oh, wow. And they say, well, they flew over first class. Then they look at it, and then I found another trick. Not really a trick, but sometimes you have to wait for them to find airfare. You know what? Look, I'll find flights.
Okay.
I usually find the least expensive flight for them. I go, here, these are the flights we found. They go, okay, sounds good to us. We'll book it. I make it as easy as possible for them. But other times, you get here. If you get to wherever, Tampa or Clearwater, wherever it may be, you get there. So that does come out of your pocket.
Okay.
But once you get there, everything's usually taken care of. There's two ways. It goes both ways either time. You never know. So.
And when you say them, this is like an agency that
PR company.
because of your website,
marketing.
because of cuisinist.com, because of
Right.
your writings, your
Right.
publishings. I see.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's like this exclusive club that now you guys have proven yourselves as
Right.
professionals in this industry, and because of that, they're taking you to do what now? To stay at the hotel so you can review the hotel, to eat at the restaurant so that you can write about the
It's
restaurant.
different things. Sometimes it's a festival, like New Orleans Wine and Food Experience. We're coming in just for that.
Okay.
But there's a lot of events around it. Other times it's going about a specific hotel.
Wow, okay.
It varies.
Yeah, it does vary. And sometimes you work with various PR firms. That there might be a PR firm that represents the restaurant, but also there's another PR person that represents the chef in the restaurant. So you're sometimes beholden to a lot of different entities or people, which is interesting too. But a large part of what happened when we got into the travel writing, which was really right after I decided to leave teaching, the editor of the Daily Meal was starting to do travel pieces on the website and needed journalists to go to these wonderful countries like Italy and New Zealand or whatever. Well, right as I decided I'm handing in my resignation, one came up for Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And I was like, I'm in, I'll go. I can go now. And they only need one journalist. So I did it. And when I got there, I thought I was there to interview the chefs and do the restaurants. But no, they wanted me to write about the spa, this beautiful spa treatment in the rainforest. I was like, I think I just made the best career
Jackpot,
decision of
right.
my life.
Right.
And
Does that come up a lot where we only want one journalist and you guys have to
no,
flip a coin?
actually,
Or?
I think
Not so
that
much.
was, only a few times actually.
Only a few times.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely.
Wow.
Another time I was I did a trip to Switzerland for a event in Switzerland called the Fête de Vigneron, which is the festival of the winemaker. It happens only 25 years in Switzerland, and they were very selective on. They took 7 journalists from the United States.
That was it.
Over.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I know Scott really, really wanted to go, but because of budget restraints and things like that, because they were bringing journalists from all over the world to this because it's so esteemed, this event. It was in Vevey, Switzerland, and they created a whole arena just for the town for this. They bring in all the townspeople trained for years on the dancing. They bring in the best costume people, and they perform the whole story of the vineyard. And it's a story of a grandfather telling his granddaughter about the importance of the vineyard and the terroir, and this relates to this, and it's a beautiful story.
Wow.
And it's on the level of the Olympics. In fact, the gentleman that created that arena, he did the opening and closing ceremonies for the Olympics.
Scott, you're a gentleman for letting Elaine take that one.
So, I fought.
So we were in
level.
Vevey, which is next to Montreux. So we actually, it was a dream. It really was a dream trip. I mean, we get to Vevey, and there we are staying at the Grand Palace overlooking Lake Geneva. And we took a boat over to the festival, which was incredible. I've never seen anything like it in the United States because we don't have anything like that in the United States. Really, we don't. And to feel the passion and love of the people for that particular story that's been passed down since I think it was the 1450 or something like that, 1500s.
Wow.
It was pretty spectacular. It was very moving, but after that festival, we got to go to the founders of the Montreux Jazz Festival to their private home for a private party. And like I said, there are things that you do as a journalist you could never do. I don't think even if you had a lot of money, well, maybe if you had like the 1% of the population, but to be there and meet these people that founded the Montreux Jazz Festival and be in. They had a room they took us in. It was like one of the most high-tech audio and visual rooms, and showed us a clip from the Jazz Festival of Sting and Prince. And it was so realistic. The journalist and I sitting next, we started crying. We were just blown away.
Wow.
Blown away. And then the next day they sent me on a train to the Glacier Express Elite Class, which is a brand new offering. And they wanted me to experience it. And it's a 5-hour train ride through the Alps with your own concierge. They tailor a whole menu for you. They have someone that will, give you the best champagne on the train, and they have a red carpet for you. I was with, I think it was the Prince of Dubai, one of the princes from Saudi Arabia, or someplace, was in the front carriage part because they had their whole entourage, and I was at the other end. Mm-hmm. And it was incredible. Like, I was like, this is crazy what I'm doing right now. But then I got off the train and was put at their best spa in Switzerland. And that night, the following night, I got to experience one of their top restaurants, Michelin restaurants. And the chef cooked me like a 24-course meal.
Wow. You guys, okay, so what have you not done? We're talking, I heard boat rides, hot air balloon rides, Michelin star restaurants, spas, hotels, salons.
I know, it sounds crazy.
Did I just say salons? I think I just said salons. Yeah. Do you guys review salons?
Yeah, we've done spas.
You can leave that up to her.
That was just me trying to,
we've done spas and wherever they want us.
Like literally every place of leisure. So what is something that you have yet to experience? What is something that maybe you, or maybe something that now that you feel like you've experienced all these things, what do you hope to get on the next trip, on the next, anything from here on out? What is something that maybe you hope to check off that bucket list?
I don't know. I'd like to go. I mean, I've been to Australia before in my other life, but I'd like to go to Australia, places like that. But again, this whole thing has always been about the flow, wherever the wind takes us. I mean, that's at a point now where we don't have to pitch people anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get emails. Hey, you want to go to Kansas City? You want to go to Florida for a Captiva Island? So now we get emails. It's out of the blue. And yeah, like going to Ireland, that came out of nowhere, like bam.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's I don't know. I never really have this idea of I really want to do this or do that in my head.
Yeah.
I feel more like Scott, like, well, whatever the universe is going to open up and present to us. And it's always a gift. It's always
Right.
interesting, and it's a beautiful thing. Really, we get to really delve in deep to these places and really learn about the United States too. We've done incredible trips to Wyoming and Kansas
Yeah.
City, Missouri, which blew my mind.
Interesting.
I mean, that city is incredible. It has the most fountains of any place in the country, and it's called the Paris of the East, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah,
No kidding,
Paris
really?
is-
I
And
never knew
it,
that. Okay.
it actually never went through Prohibition, so there
Right.
are all these like hidden little speakeasy places in the city that was an interesting history there, and great restaurants and arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I would probably have never,
I would
ever
never
have
picked
visited that place. Ever.
Unbelievable.
And,
also have to be
and it's the
flexible.
World War One museum is there.
Yeah. You also have to be flexible. The prime example, Elaine was visiting family in Texas, in Dallas, for Thanksgiving. I get an email the day after Thanksgiving from Visit Ireland for Dublin. We want you to come to Dublin. I said, great. I said, I'm Scottish Irish. I said, so when's the trip? It's December 3rd. I was like, wow, that's like 10 days. So I called her. I said, you want to go to Ireland? Yeah, so I called her, sure, book it. So it literally, that's probably the shortest international trip, a major trip, with only like 10 days notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get sometimes, usually like you get longer, but that was a quick one. Yeah, you never
Spur
know.
of the moment,
Yep.
book it, call it a
Yep.
day.
We
Wow.
did. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It's a true life of leisure. I love it. When we come back,
yeah.
I want to get into tasting
right.
some wine. I
All
want
right.
I want you
All
guys to
right.
teach me
Let's do
what
this
I'm supposed to
thing.
know.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right. Lakeside Village Voice Podcast is sponsored by the Rojas Group, your complete online digital marketing company in Las Vegas since 1999. The Rojas Group specializes in website development, having created hundreds of websites in the fields of hospitality, medical, recreational, technology, wedding, and senior living spaces. In addition, the Rojas Group provides strategic, innovative, and engaging social media, along with digital advertising that converts clients and sales. For more information, please visit trglv.com online today. Here we go. Are we doing it? Are we
Yeah,
getting
you're
it good?
doing good.
Swirling
You're
it? Okay, so that's bringing out flavors, is what
Yeah,
you're saying? That's
yeah.
aerating the wine?
Esters, as
They're
they
called
call them esters.
Okay.
Which is like, you're getting air to the bottle, air to the glass.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Scott, you do it like a true professional.
It actually is kind of funny. I don't know why I do this. I swirl it the wrong way.
He does.
I don't know
mean-
why. Like I'm down under or something.
How
in
dare
Australia.
you,
'Cause
Scott,
usually-
swirl your wine
see,
the
what-
wrong
see,
way.
I always do this. For me, it feels weird to do it this way. To me, I just always done this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool that
It's
way. It
fine.
looks better that
Yeah,
way.
Whatever.
Okay, so we're stirring it. I'm looking for impurities. I
Yeah,
see
it's
nothing
nice
but...
and clear. It's not cloudy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not cloudy or
Yeah.
nothing floating in it.
And a
Nothing
cloudy
funny.
wine is, again, the wet dog syndrome.
No.
Too much heat,
Right.
possibly. Sour
it could be an
grapes.
indicator that something is amiss, but
Okay.
really, then you want to put
Smell?
your nose in there.
The whole nose?
Yeah, just a tip.
And the nose.
All
We'll
right.
Take a little smell.
And again, it smells nice and bright.
Not too hard. I said a little smell and a little.
Not up your nose.
Can you tell I'm a rookie? Can you tell?
Not up your nose. So yeah. So basically, you're basically smelling it, looking for it smells nice and bright.
Now,
And
I do
clean.
know this. You have to keep your mouth open while smelling it, correct?
Yes, that's a good idea.
All right.
You should.
Okay.
I mean, you
You
can.
should. You can.
Okay.
I don't know.
Either way, you
Now,
can
what am
also
I-
like run it around your
Okay.
gums. You
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
So what am I looking for when I smell it? Because it
Again,
smells
you're
to me a little bit fruity. Is that...
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
Now,
good.
when you get more advanced, you try to name a fruit and a floral characteristic.
See, how do you do that? How do I... Is it something that it takes you back? Maybe it's a memory? Like,
me?
Yes, a lot of it is memory
Okay.
driven, and it's like some people might say, especially with red wines that are on oak, they'll say, "Oh, it smells like chocolate chip cookies." Well, yeah, it's gonna smell like
Yeah.
that because it's been on oak for so many months. So you get that oaky, you get
Right.
the toastiness from the charred barrel. So you're going to have that kind of thing, but also the yeastiness, just like you know, in a baked good, and the grapes might even have like especially like a chocolate note to them. So
Right.
Now,
there you
sometimes
go, like a chocolate chip cookie, right?
like sometimes when doesn't the label at times give you may taste this, you may have
can.
hints
Oh, yeah.
of that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is that ever incorrect? Do you
Not
ever
every time.
Do you ever smell it tasting? You say no, actually.
It's so subjective. Like
Okay.
Elaine said, it goes back to memory. What aromas? If you grew up in a country, then you're gonna have you're gonna smell like barnyard and grass and stuff because you were born, you raised as you smell that, or fresh cut grain. But if you're a city person, you wouldn't maybe not. You have to train your palate to get those. You know, Chicago, for example.
Yes.
You don't get a whole lot. It is from the Midwest. I mean, you go travel outside, you may get it. So it's all subjective learning. But then you can also train yourself to experience more smells.
When you say train yourself, do I need to just get a plate of fruits and
Similar.
grains and just start
I told people
smelling?
And you
They-
can actually get tasting kits.
You can.
And
Okay.
where you have little vials of things you can smell and try.
easy way to do
or
it-
just go through your supermarket. Although,
go to Whole Foods.
you know,
So maybe be more in the moment when it comes to flavors, because I
Right.
feel like a lot of
Right.
times we just consume whether it's alcohol or food, and we're not even thinking about it. We're just eating
Right.
it for the
Yeah.
instant gratification of it. But if you actually zoom out and slow it down, maybe
Right.
to savor those flavors, those smells, I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
part of, or a lot of what.
The cool thing about wine, which I never thought about this so many years ago, is to think about all the beverages: coffee, tea, milk, beer, martinis, vodkas. Usually, you don't share those with a person. You don't share a bottle of vodka with somebody unless you're sitting on a street corner somewhere, right? But but wine is a social occasion. You share a bottle of wine with friends and great
Yes,
food.
absolutely.
It's the only beverage I can think of that you don't share a beer with your buddy or your wife, or usually, unless a pitcher, but again, it's different. So it's the only thing I could think of that you do share a bottle of wine, and usually it's over a meal, it's amongst friends. I think it's more conducive and more convivial for groups to taste. It brings people together. If you ever gone to a wine tasting at a table, you don't know anybody. In the night, you don't know everybody at the table.
Yeah.
For
it
good or
does.
bad.
Yeah, you're right. It brings people
Yeah.
together.
It
And
does.
on that note, let's cheers. I'm going to do my
Cheers.
taste.
All right.
do your
And tell
taste.
me, before I taste, what am I looking for? What am I supposed to do
A
properly?
fruit. Think
But
of a fruit.
do I have to swish it? Do I have to?
Yep. Put it in your mouth and run it across your gums.
Okay. Without spilling it on my shirt.
Kind of switch it in your mouth like a mouthwash. Now you get all kinds of flavors.
because
Yes,
you
we can
like-
swallow and everything.
because your palate
yeah. So
on
Okay.
your palate. And
Okay.
then,
And what do we
just
call?
like
Is
a
that called
handy
anything? Is that like the initial taste? Is that
pop.
like
the
a?
initial taste?
initial
I guess
taste,
you
yeah.
could call it that.
because you have
Okay.
it.
Did we just coin that? All
Yeah, I
right.
think
Yeah.
you did.
Right here at Lakeside Village.
There
All
you
right.
go. All right, David. did it
Vino
right
Las
here.
Vegas.
All right.
This
That's
is
right.
where you heard it
Right.
first.
We do have our Vino Las Vegas wine and yacht club glasses
That's
with
right.
us today too.
Oh, we'll
about
talk
it.
Yes,
about
we
that
do.
Yeah,
real
that's
soon here.
Yeah. So basically that's it. And if you can come up, I mean, this is a Chardonnay. It does have typical things. Usually Chardonnay does have some grapefruit flavors. Usually, not every time. So nothing's exact in wine tasting.
Okay.
Some have more oak. Some have no oak at all. Oak is more body, makes it thicker. It's a very subjective thing.
Now, is there such thing as the second taste that I just had was a little bit different than the first? Is that normal? Is that
It's probably normal. Right?
Probably. Well, you're probably more relaxed. So
Okay.
you're probably just like, And so when you try it again,
Yes,
it's
yes.
like you're in a different.
you're not overthinking it?
Yeah, you're not like
Right.
that. Anxiety is lessened.
And then, if you're at a table with your friends and you like the wine, the sommelier will come by and then pull you for a glass, or pull the glass. That's kind of a trick. And
Okay.
as a sommelier, let's say there are 6 people here, and you got that one bottle.
Okay.
And to do it right, everybody should have, by the time you pour it, even the host is the last one to get poured, they should all be the same.
Ooh, and
That's
what
tough.
What does that look like on the glass? Like if you were to measure it with your finger, where are we supposed to?
Usually you do it by sight. Usually 4 people is easy.
Okay.
But if I added 2 more people here, I'd have to really pay attention. Okay, the first person, I as a host tasted the wine. Now I'm gonna have to pour it for you, and for you, and for you, and for you, and for her, and finally reserve enough.
Wait,
so
I'm
they're
sorry.
all the same.
So you're saying no matter how many people are at the table, you should all have the same amount,
Right?
Yes.
and the bottle should be finished by the end,
Yeah.
or not necessarily finished, but
Finished,
as
no.
long as
But
everyone.
as
So the
long as
importance
everyone has.
should have the
got
exact
it.
same amount.
Okay. 'Cause I was like, wow,
Visually.
that's a heck of
It's
a
tough.
math problem to figure out.
But usually, if you get like 8 people, I say you got to get a second bottle because
Yeah.
you got it's like
got
a little
little tiny.
thing.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, but the main goal is that everyone at the table should have the exact same amount in their
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Fascinating.
That's one of the things they teach you in the service part
Yeah,
of it,
that's training.
and it gets really crazy
And then
at the higher levels. It all depends on if it's the woman that's the host. Then she gets served first. You have to go back to the other woman, and you got to go clockwise. You go back to the man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there's
Wow.
different.
It's crazy. That's the high. That's like the Michelin star wine
Right.
service. That's and then the more delicate situation. Then you serve the eldest woman first. Now, who's gonna say, okay, who's older between
Oh,
you two?
my.
Right?
Yeah, that can
right?
get a little
Yeah,
tricky
that's kinda
nowadays.
tricky. You kind of like guess. You kind of guess.
Yeah,
But
okay.
they don't know that. But that's what you're trying to do. It's all kinds of secret stuff. But that's fine dining service. You're not going to get that at a regular restaurant. Usually, they're just going to pour the wine.
Wow.
They'll go
Okay.
around the corner, man, women don't care, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that.
But
Okay.
you know what's really great about today? That there's so many outlets where you can learn about wine. I mean, that more now than ever. And you can go to Total Wines. They'll do
Yeah.
a wine tasting there, or at any type of beverage outlet, like even Lee's Liquor. They have people there that want you to try their product, and
Right.
it's a great way to learn. Also, there's groups. You can meet up groups. You can join that focus on wine tasting. And that's how we really started
Right here
learning.
at Lakeside, we have one now.
We had a group that would meet at Marche Bacchus years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and we did blind wine tastings where they cover the bottle, and we'd have to,
Right.
smell it and figure out what it was and where it was from, and was it an
Right.
old world wine or a new world wine?
You got good.
And
Unbelievable.
that was our greatest education. Really, was going through those experiences with this group, and that kind of helped us
Right.
in our education with being able to decipher what was in the bottle. But also, there's a whole education on what to pair with the wine.
Right.
What kind of foods do you want to eat with this? And not necessarily do you have to have, white wine with chicken or red
Yeah,
wine
that's
with
pretty
red
much
meat.
gone.
I see.
Because
Wow.
there are so many, and then there's so many different wine regions now.
Right.
More now than ever before in history.
And they're all different.
So,
And you
and
could walk
really what dictates what's in this bottle is called terroir, which is where the grapes are grown.
Right.
The earth, the sky, the weather conditions.
How do I say that again?
Terroir.
Terroir.
Well, that's in
A
French.
sense of place.
Sense of place.
Sense of place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what you're tasting in the bottle really is the place,
Right.
right? So if you go to Monterey and you look around, that's what's in the bottle, really.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Okay. Yeah. You're
And,
getting a
but-
sense of where you are,
Right.
where
Yeah.
you're visiting.
Right.
Wow.
And
So-
they're a living thing. Spirits are distilled. You can have a bottle of Jack Daniels on your shelf for 40 years if you want to. Wine is a famous line at what movie was that anyway?
Sideways?
Sideways. And I always get emotional when she says this line, and make it short. It's waddle here. It's a living and breathing thing. So this was made in 2009. Now, if you think in 2009 in Spain, harvest usually September or October, there were people out there. Now, take your mind back, 2009. Where were you, 2009, September, October? People are out there picking these grapes in Spain. This is a blend, so different varietals. And some of them may not be with us anymore. So then they bottled this bottle, and it's a living thing. It has a life. It has a peaks, and then it'll gradually do a slow decline, and then it's not drinkable anymore. So it's very And that's all true. It's like
Wow.
like a vodka would be a vodka until whenever, but heat, too much cold. It's a living being in there, and if you treat it well, it'll last a long time, like anything. This has 14%
But
alcohol.
surprisingly,
so-
most
Right.
wine is consumed shortly after.
Yeah, Americans
People
yeah.
purchase it.
Within
so
a 5 to 7
there
years.
are people that are, into collecting, and of course
Mm-hmm.
they want to know, like,
So wine will
longevity
still
of it.
age while it's in the bottle, whereas something like a whiskey, once it's out of that barrel,
Yeah, because it's
Right.
a distilled spirit.
They age
it's
them in the
not-
barrel
I see.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they age them they may age them 5 years in a cask, oak cask or whatever it may be, and then they go bottle age for the rest of their life. I mean, this is 2009, so it's got some age on it.
Wow.
Actually.
So
Yeah.
what should we do about this bottle of red wine that's all...
Okay, well, this is a kind of a new one. We're taking it to Spain. Let me move this
Ooh,
out of the way
okay.
here.
All right.
So this is a blend. It's called Camay. It has Tempranillo, which is its own varietal grape, a Cabernet Sauvignon, a Syrah, and Petit Verdot. Almost evenly, 30%, 35%, 30%, and a little bit of Petit Verdot. Now, those are all individual wines on their own. You can have a bottle of Tempranillo, Cabernet, Syrah, not so much Petit Verdot. You get some blending grape. It's only 5%. But usually usually in Europe, they like doing French. In France, they use Bordeaux blends. Spain likes doing blends. Australia does blends. We do blends here in the U.S. So this is a red, obviously. And so this is a crianza. Again, this is it has laws. Crianza means it has 6 months an oak before it's even bottled.
Wow.
Then you got the higher levels where it requires 12 months, and then over 3 years, a reserva or a grand reserva. So they have rules. We don't even have those rules in the United States. We don't have
No,
rules
we
like
don't.
that. So we're going to pour this here. It's out of the way here.
All
Have
right.
your glass over,
Yep.
David.
There.
There we go. So again, you go through the same process with the red wine here. And right away, I'll see if you notice it.
Of course I didn't.
Right away.
Well, you're
The
learning.
bubbles? Is it bubbles?
We could bring some next
That
time.
was
Yeah, next
that
time.
was a serious question.
All right. Here we go. All right.
I
So-
noticed that it was red this time.
It's red. So you know how... It's a cool question.
Okay.
Okay? You know, all wine grapes are white on the inside.
Okay.
They are. Cabernet, Petit Verdot, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Noir, and they get the color from the skin contact.
Ah, okay.
So, like the Chardonnay here, it has obviously it has a white skin and a white inside, but Pinot Noir is red on the outside but white on the inside. So it's that's the kind of a little trivia thing. That's how they make a rosé. That's another topic. So here we go.
Fascinating. Okay,
So again,
so
same process.
we're swirling it. Okay.
Now,
I looked at it.
first of all, you see how brown this is? It's not deep red. Like
Yes.
it's brownish
Look at
color,
it. See
right?
that?
Yes, it is.
So the reason why is that red wines get lighter with age, and
Okay.
white wines get darker with age. So you could see right away when you get to a slight level, you could know you're guessing an age on this. This is well over 6 years old. 7 or 8. Or
Just
more.
based on how
Just
dark
look
it
at the
is.
color. See how
Yeah, it
big-
has like that reddish brown
yeah.
ring
okay.
around the edge.
Yeah, if you tilt it a little bit, you see how it's really light on the out of the ring there. If you tilt
Yes,
it,
yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
indicator
it's a good
of
indicator.
age.
It's cut age ring.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be the body of it will be dark, and then the outside will be
It'll
light.
be
Right.
more of
And
it.
it'll get
a reddish,
lighter and lighter and lighter. as
It's
it
like
goes.
a reddish brown.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
same process, swishing around. You don't see anything floating around in there.
Okay. Then we smell. Okay. I remember this part.
There you go.
It's got like a. What am I trying to say? It's definitely not like the last one in that the last one I would call it light, and I would call this one heavy. But
yeah.
that these
You're
are
right.
these are amateur terms. How
No,
would
you're
you, in a professional way?
Well, this
Describe.
one here, the
Well, you're not
Chardonnay,
too far off. I mean, as
doesn't
far
have too
as-
much oak on it. If it had a lot of oak on it, it would be heavy, as heavy as this. These grapes are pretty light as far as Spanish wines go.
Okay.
I mean, they could be like a.
But you're also
Barolo,
looking
yeah.
at, when you're talking about terms like light and heavy, when you're considering how the weight of the wine is in the glass.
Right.
Okay.
I always tell people to think about milk. Like you have, 2% you have regular milk, you have 1%.
There you
So
go.
they all have a different feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some are lighter, some are the whole milk's going to be heavier. So when you swirl it, you can feel like it's heavier in the glass, or is it light? They call it light in the body in the glass, or does it feel medium or heavy, medium to heavy in the glass? So you were not too far off when you
No,
said that.
You're right.
And also, like we said before, the older the wine gets, then you have different qualities too. So
Well, cheers.
cheers.
To
Yay.
Kame. Is that what?
Yay. Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's give this one a taste. I mean, it's good. I like it.
Well, you're gonna get a bunch of stuff. This is a event. I got like deep dark cherry, like
Yeah.
big tart cherry,
It's
and
definitely drier than the last one was more of like
More fruit
almost like a juice.
Yeah.
Right.
This
And-
one is definitely leaves your mouth a little dry.
and that dryness you feel around your teeth,
Okay.
those are tannins.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And when you think of tannins, I always say to people, think about tea, the astringency in tea.
Yes. Okay.
It's like
Bite into a
that
tea
dry feeling.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And you might be camera can't pick this up. You see those little legs running here? Little they swirl around. See those little things? Those are called legs.
Yeah,
Yes.
you talked
okay.
about that
I'm-
earlier.
That-
Yeah,
That's-
I'm vaguely familiar, but yes, I've.
Right.
Okay,
So
explain.
that's directly proportionate to the sugar content in the wine.
Ah, okay. Okay.
The faster, the longer the legs. Like most men like long legs.
Yeah.
But that's going to be going to be a higher alcohol wine. This is 14%.
Yeah.
Because of sugar. Sugar equates to alcohol. Any moonshiner would tell you that. Any beer maker would tell you that. Sugar equates to alcohol.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So, what have you guys got going on at Vino Las Vegas Wine Club in the coming weeks, months?
Go ahead, Lynn.
Well, right now, I am holding painting and sip classes. And the sip, we do offer a glass of wine with the painting class. However, we do have other beverages available for purchase. And we also have bottles for purchase and other glasses of wine if you so want more.
Right.
So, being a former educator, the last 5 years of my career, I was an art specialist for various schools and honed my teaching skills with many students under the age of 11. So
Right.
I think I honed those skills pretty well. And when this opportunity came to open Vino Las Vegas Wine and Yacht Club, part of it I wanted to do was do painting and wine classes. So I've done my first class a few weeks ago, and it was a success in our space, the Vino Las Vegas Wine Club. And I'm offering a second one on June 22nd at 6 to 8 p.m. And you can sign up on VinoLasVegasWineClub.com. And it's I think it's a great price point. You get a glass of wine and the painting and instruction. It's a 2-hour class for $39. And we will be having a food component, which we're working out pricing on that right now. But we'll offer like a charcuterie plate.
Right.
Wow.
So and that will be an addition. So it was. I had a full house last time. I hope I have a full house. It's a lot of fun. Every month I have a different painting that's posted on the website. So it's just a great night to come out and enjoy yourself with your friends. I think it's because I spent so many years teaching. I try to keep everybody really at ease. Like I can't tell you, this is about fun. I'm not going to, you're not getting a grade. You're not getting a gold star. You're really here just to enjoy your own creativity. And whatever gets up on that canvas, it's about you. It's not about comparing yourself to the neighbor, but really to come in to realize this is a social time. This is to have fun, to maybe learn more about yourself creatively if you've never really painted, and to lay aside those misconceptions or ideas of, oh, I'm not an artist, I can't draw. I will guide you through it. If I could teach all these kids how to draw different things, I can definitely have honed those skills. I'll break it down. I'll make it really, really workable for you so that you'll feel good about it and you'll have fun. And, of course, there's great wine. That helps too.
Of course.
And I do teach a little bit about the wine also that we're drinking. And
you guys also do some wine tasting events as well?
We're setting them up as we speak. They should be appearing. We have experts in the industry, meeting one on Friday, setting up another one last night. I'm coming in 2 or 3 wines. They're experts to bring in the wines and everything and tell you all about it. And the whole cool thing is that we're going to have other types of events. You also, if you want to have your own private event,
sure, networking events for clients. Oh yeah,
for like networking events for real estate people, it's perfect for that. It's your mind is whatever.
Yeah.
Here at the Lakeside Suites, your network event, realtors, security guys, whatever.
Sure, and in fact, we are also having,
That's right.
In addition to that, we are doing a networking event hosted by the Vegas Chamber of Commerce, June 29th, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Happy hour time.
The wine club will be open.
It'll be open. Come on down. It's a great way, like you said, it brings people together. Wine is not a by yourself activity. It should be enjoyed amongst friends and good company. So with that in mind, you guys have been amazing today. And
thank you.
You are amazing.
You've
And
been amazing.
I'm very, very happy to share episode 1 with you guys.
Episode 1.
Cheers to that. Yay. Thank you for listening to the Lakeside Village Voice podcast. For more information, please check us out at www.lakesidevillage.vegas. You can add us on Instagram under the name Lakeside Village Vegas. You can also check out our Facebook page under the name Lakeside Village Las Vegas. We have so many more episodes coming soon with even more amazing guests, so please make sure to like and subscribe to all our channels. We are on iTunes Podcasts, and we also have a YouTube channel, both under the name Lakeside Village Voice. Thank you for being with us all the way to the end. We'll see you again soon.